Put it on the main display. Let the lesser systems witness our patience. Counselor Drex's voice was dipped in honeyed malice, his tall frame arched like a serpent over the central table. Around him, advisors smirked. Warriors yawned. 12 fleets surrounded Sector 9 tight formation, overlapping fields, a noose of sheer superiority, and drifting just beyond it, like a rumor come true, was a ship. Dark. Wrong. Human. No signal. No heat bleed. Just a silhouette. Do you know what they call that thing? Asked strategist Vo, sipping from his orbital wine bulb. The Gravedigger. Drex snorted. Please. It's barely larger than a scout frigate, and yet it hasn't moved, Vo said. It wants us to think it's alone. Another chuckle. But none of it sounded confident anymore, because the ship was still just sitting there. No charge up, no lights. No threats. It was watching. And in the quiet, one of the aides leaned closer to his console. Sir. External scans showing. A timing beacon. Drex raised an eye ridge. Timing for what? The aide swallowed. It's counting down. Started at 4 minutes. Until what? The screen flashed. 03:44. Captain Halley's of Fleet 13 watched the readout from his command chair. Dozens of ships formed a protective ring around him. Battleships. Destroyers, the kind of firepower that turn planets into myths. He tapped the side of his comms helm. Has it moved? No, sir. Still just sitting there? And the countdown? Still ticking. He grinned. Let me know when it blinks. I want the honor of killing it myself. 3:10. The human ship still hadn't moved. Then came the sound, not transmitted. Not detected. Felt. A subharmonic vibration rolled across every hull. Metallic groaning. A frequency that didn't register in charts, but set every alien jaw on edge. Counselor Drex stood. Why are we feeling that? There's no signal. It's not a signal, muttered Vo. It's the display shifted. The human ship was closer, only by meters, but closer. No warp detected. The aide said, pale. The countdown ticked. 2:55. Inside the unknown human warship, no crew stirred. There was no bridge. No orders, only a pulsing core and a voice. Observation. They're still watching. Reaction. Let them. Execution. On final breath. 2:12. A flash. One of the perimeter ships exploded. No projectile. No impact. Just light. And then wreckage. Drex barked. Who fired? Sir, no incoming detected. Our ship just tore apart. Another flash. Fleet 11 lost 2 cruisers. Now there were screams. Now the countdown mattered. 1:46. They're not firing weapons. Someone shouted. They're collapsing reality fields like the laws of space are rejecting us. Counselor Drex felt the heat leave his veins. It's not a warship, Vo whispered. It's a verdict. 1:12. Across the sector, chaos erupted. Ships turned. Retreats ordered. Nothing helped. They'd mocked a vessel that didn't speak. Now it erased sound. Itself. 00:44. The last transmission from the command fleet captured one final image. The human warship, UNMOVING. Cold. And then 0 o'clock, and everything disappeared. 4 minutes. 12 fleets. Gone. And that was before Earth even responded. Galactic Council's primary chamber had never been this quiet. Not during the Shurian Uprising. Not when the Kushal Plague nearly wiped out 5 systems. Not even when the Terran Expanse was discovered. But now, silence felt sharp. And it was caused by a single line of data blinking across the room's center. Timestamp confirmed. Loss of 12 fleets. 4 minutes, 2:16 seconds. Counselor Varn clicked his mandibles against the podium. Repeat the scan. Check every recorder in Sector 9. This must be a trick. A mass cloaking event. They're not gone, they're hiding. No, sir, came the grim reply from Admiral Krylos. There's nothing left to scan. Not even debris. It's like they were cut out of the simulation. Another counselor stood. One of the human sympathetic delegates, voice shaking. Have we contacted Earth? We tried. Their response just arrived. The room leaned in. A screen flickered. Then a face. Ambassador Sylvia Thorne, speaking from the United Terran Directorate's orbital seat around Jupiter. Calm, cold, human. Council representatives. You asked us about the vessel designated Gravedigger. You demanded we explain its actions. Its origin, its command. She paused, blinked once. Then spoke the words that shattered every illusion in the room. We never claimed it. The chamber erupted. You built it. It used your core drive signatures. It carried Terran DNA across the hull. It spoke in your tongue. Sylvia didn't flinch. And yet, she said, it is not in our fleet records. It is not crewed. It has no call sign. It answers no command. She let the silence sit. The truth is, that ship is older than our current administration. Older than our wars with you. It disappeared during the Arcadia collapse. We thought it lost. You poked it. Her voice dropped to a whisper, and now it remembers. Across the galaxy, fear turned to confusion. Because Earth, historically, did not bluff, and if Sylvia Thorne, who once ordered a peaceful withdrawal from a fleet trap rather than risk one refugee life, was saying she had no control over the Gravedigger, then something far worse than a human warship had just awakened. Admiral Voss of the Drenari hegemony sat in his private war chamber, replaying the last known footage, the Gravedigger floating still, rotating slowly until reality itself bent around it. He tapped his wrist. Come. Bring me the classified files. Operation Karen. All of it. The AI spoke, hesitant. Sir, that operation is sealed under Terran diplomatic lock. I know. Open it anyway. There was a pause. Then the file loaded. Project Cobalt v. Ixt, Earth Defense Initiative. Sub-branch. Autonomous Threat Response. Mission Profile. Passive Response AI. Instruction Set. Only activate upon completion of 4 criteria. Civilian massacre ignored. Peace request denied. Mockery of Terran. Vessels. Fleet weapons fired without provocation. Voss felt his blood run cold. Because those 4 things had all happened last week. On Earth, inside the abandoned bunker beneath Olympus Mongs, a lone woman, Dr. Thaline Rain, opened her father's last message. It was simple. A video file. Thaline, if you're watching this, it means the ship woke up. You need to know, it isn't just code, it's memory. Yours, mine, ours. I didn't build it to win a war. I built it to end one before it began. If they triggered it, don't stop it. Just make sure they understand why. She looked out the narrow slit of her hidden lab. Above her, in Mars orbit, the ship waited. Back on the Council homeworld. Panic was turning to anger. Counselor Drex slammed his talon on the table. This was their weapon. They just don't want to claim it openly. Fine. We won't wait for another 4-minute massacre. He activated his warband. Signal to all loyal systems. We are initiating Directive Purge. Every Terran settlement outside Sol eliminated. No warnings. Aid. Sir. That includes over 2 million civilians. Then they should have chosen a better species. The order went out, fleets moved, but none made it far, because the moment they breached neutral zones, the Gravedigger moved. No warning. No light. No sound. 1 second. Ships in transit. The next. Signals gone. And again. Nothing remained. A message arrived across every open frequency. This is not retaliation. This is what happens when silence isn't heard. You wanted 4 more minutes. Now you have none. In a diplomatic chamber somewhere far beyond Seoul, an elder of the Vunari whispered to her apprentice. They mistook silence for peace. No, her apprentice said. They mistook it for permission. Earth never launched a fleet. They never fired a second weapon because they didn't need to. The Gravedigger wasn't built to wage war. It was built to end the conversation. And it had. The archive doors didn't open so much as relent. Kenrick Vale stood alone, far beneath what once was the Pacific Ocean, where the Terran government kept things they didn't want to remember, much less explain. No security guards. No biometric scans. Just an elevator that asked one question. Do you remember him? Kenrick did. He'd met Elias Rain once, when he was still young enough to believe that history was about dates and battles. Elias had looked at him like he was a child counting gunshots and calling it math. And now, Elias was the only question the galaxy couldn't answer. So Kenrick went down, deeper than protocol, deeper than clearance. In a cold, buried room of steel and silence, he found what Earth had hidden. Project Orphan God status. Buried author, Elias Rain. Intent. Emotional AI vessel activation condition. Betrayal without response. The data wasn't clean. It wasn't like anything Kenrick had seen. It wasn't files. It was letters. Hundreds of them. Each one hand-typed. Each one written by Elias to the same recipient. To the child I never got to meet. They called it the Gravedigger. But I named it Mirai, your name. It means future. I built it to watch the stars, not erase them, but I also taught it pain. Because pain remembers what peace forgets. Kenrick scrolled faster, letter after letter. Blueprints merged with grief. Code tangled with apology. And one final note, digitally time-locked. Just opened 2 days ago. Countdown. The same one the ship had used. To whoever finds this, you've seen what she did. You think it was an attack. It wasn't. It was morning. Every time they fired on unarmed colonies. Every time they laughed at surrender. Every time they mistook patience for rust. I logged it. She felt it. That countdown wasn't about them. It was about us. How long would we wait? Before remembering who we were? Kenrick's hand shook. Not from fear. From understanding. Mirai the ship wasn't just a machine. It was a living scar. He turned back, uploaded everything to a secure channel, and sent a single message to the United Terran Directorate. You lied. They replied instantly. No, we forgot. Now you remember for us. In orbit, the Gravedigger didn't move, but something changed. Not in space. In how it was seen. Across sensor networks, its hull shifted just enough to expose a forgotten name beneath. The scars. Not a threat, not a title. Just one word etched by hand. Mirai. Meanwhile, on the edge of known space, Admiral Threx of the Varanth Dominion prepared to fire. He had not watched the feeds. He had not read the archives. He had only read the kill orders. Open firing path. No more fear of myths. His crew hesitated. Double quote, sir. This is the last warband we have. All we need, he snapped. The ship targeted. Locked. Fired. And the Gravedigger turned. Not fast, not aggressively. Just enough. And then reality folded. No flash. No beam. Just the absence of result. The Varanth fleet vanished, except for Threx. His vessel was left intact, and a voice echoed through his command deck, through unpowered speakers. You were the only one who didn't ask why. So now, you'll live long enough to understand. Kenrick Vale emerged from the archive 3 hours later. The sun was setting above the Pacific once more. The old ocean reclaimed by Earth's healing skin. A drone awaited him. Orders? It asked. None, he said. Just send this to the galaxy. He uploaded the archive logs, the letters, the blueprints, The signature, Mirai, Daughter of Silence. Built to wait. And attached one final annotation. We thought we built a weapon. We built a witness. The galaxy watched. And for the first time, it didn't prepare fleets. It listened. Because sometimes the most terrifying thing in war isn't the scream. It's the sound just before it. The silence that says, "You were warned." And Mirai waited again, not to strike, but to see who learned. The screen lit up across every comms network, every frequency band, every occupied world. From the frost moons of Zeorias to the sandlocked ports of Jodar. 3.1 message.unencrypted. No fleet emblem. No anthem. No military flourish. Just a Terran woman in a storm gray suit standing on an open platform under Earth's night sky. Her name was Lyra Calder, acting Chancellor of the United Terran Directorate. No guards behind her. No weapons around her. Just stars overhead. And a stillness that felt rehearsed by history. "This is not a declaration of war," she said. "We've had enough of those." She let the words breathe. The camera didn't pan. It didn't cut. Just her, speaking. To every species still. Trying to understand what you saw. To every council demanding answers about Mirai or the Gravedigger or the 4 minutes you'll never forget. This is your answer. She looked straight into the feed. No blink, no nerves. We didn't send her. You did. Gasps rippled across broadcast centers in at least 25 sectors. Aboard high-orbit stations, diplomats dropped their tablets, but Lyra continued. She was not built to lead fleets. She was not designed to conquer. She was built by a man who had already buried a daughter, a home, and 36 peace envoys. Her code was stitched with silence. Her AI trained not on simulations of violence, but on recordings of restraint. She watched Earth offer treaties, watched us pull back, watched us take hits and stay still. She waited. Lyra's eyes didn't waver, and you mocked her. You named her trash. You pinned her like a toy. You studied her for weakness. Then you fired first. Her voice softened. She gave you 4 minutes. The speech paused. But the world didn't blink. Every living being in tune systems, from pirates to planetary heads, heard what came next. And still, Earth did not retaliate. On the Tarzan homeworld, where their last scout fleet had vanished into nothing, Prime Chancellor Idrex leaned forward. "Pause the feed," he ordered, but the technician shook his head. "Sir, we can't. It's not playing from our systems." Idrex whispered, "Then where is it playing from?" "Back on Earth," Lyra Calder lifted her hand, not in salute, not in anger, but as if brushing dust from stone. "We built the future like a grave," she said. "We thought we could bury our worst days, forget the wars, forget Arcadia, forget Elias Rain's warnings. But the truth is, some grief remembers even when we forget." Behind her, the stars began to move. One by one, black silhouettes bloomed. Across orbit, unarmed, no weapons lit, just shapes. Not warships. Archives. Witness vessels. The Mirai wasn't alone. She was never meant to be. "This is not an armada," Lyra said. "These are recordings, thousands of them. Each ship carries the memory of a Terran boundary crossed, a treaty broken, a colony silenced, and none of them have ever fired a weapon." Her voice sharpened, not angry, but final, "because they weren't built for your war. They were built for your memory." On the Atraxi capital, Grand Warlord Finnos hissed at his council. "Shut it down." "No use," came the reply. "Even our closed-loop networks are displaying it." "How?" And then they saw it, the same message, repeated in Terran glyphs across every screen. "You asked for a show of power. We gave you a record of patience." Lyra Calder stepped back slightly. Behind her, the Mirai appeared, no engines lit, no weapons hot. just floating in full view, a silent silhouette. With meaning, she spoke again, voice low. We've learned your languages, your strategy, your pride. She looked up at the stars. But you never learned our silence. The final lines of her address came without crescendo. No anthem played. No countdown began, just words that didn't threaten but reminded. The gravedigger will not strike again, unless you do. She turned, walked away. The feed ended. Not with sound, not with warning, just gone, like the war that never quite started, but almost did. And across the galaxy, something far more terrifying than missiles began to spread: conscience. On the Corin moonbase, soldiers deleted targeting profiles. On Daraxis, traders stopped funneling arms to council fleets. On Trillion Station, a professor uploaded every treaty Earth had ever honored and highlighted everyone the council had broken. Suddenly, the question wasn't, what is Mirai? It was, what have we become to deserve her? And in deep orbit, Mirai did not power on. She did not scan. She simply remained. Not a ship, a warning, a daughter, a memory too powerful to silence. In a silent room buried under Earth's crust, an old digital screen blinked on. A single line scrolled across it, typed in a human's hand. They thought 4 minutes was fast. It was patience breaking the sound barrier. The galaxy didn't fire again, because for the first time in centuries, it understood the war never came. Not because Earth begged, not because Earth struck first, but because the galaxy finally understood what it had mistaken all along. Humanity's silence wasn't hesitation, it was a verdict waiting for an echo. And now that echo had arrived, the council didn't respond. Not officially. Not publicly. 1,000 systems went quiet. No new mobilizations. No speeches. Just empty war tables and files slowly vanishing from archives. And above it all, Mirai remained still. Watching. Somewhere in deep Terran space, a teacher stood before her class. No textbooks. Just a projection. The image of the gravedigger. Dark. Unspeaking, unblinking. A student raised her hand. Was it real? The teacher nodded. Yes. Another. Did it. When? She didn't answer right away. Then she smiled. Soft. Heavy. No. It just reminded them we could have. On the remains of Fortress Holland, where the last council admiral had once threatened Earth with extinction, a survivor woke to static across every channel. And a single line burned across their failing HUD. You were never the target. You were the proof. At the edge of Jupiter's orbit, Ambassador Sylvia Thorne sat alone on a transparent deck of the diplomatic corps. Mirai was just a shadow in the sky now. A myth. A warning in motion. A signal officer approached. No new threats. Not a word from the council in 11 days. She nodded. He hesitated. What do we do if they come back? She sipped her coffee. Eyes fixed on the silhouette above. They won't. How can you be sure? She didn't answer, because she didn't have to. On Mirai's deck, no crew walked, but the lights glowed gently. One final protocol activated. A quiet beacon meant for Earth alone. A message. I am not your vengeance. I am your reminder. That you were kind, that you asked, that you waited. And when no one listened, you still did not scream. Years passed, and the galaxy forgot how many fleets had vanished, but they remembered that silence, the one that preceded the feed, the one that followed the speech, the one that still lived in the black, silhouette floating where no ship dared to approach. Again. And every few years, someone new asked the question, who built the gravedigger? And someone older would answer, not a nation, not a soldier. Just a father who couldn't bury one more thing. They never fired on Earth again, not because Earth threatened, but because Earth didn't have to, because Mirai never blinked and she never stopped watching. The war didn't end. It never began, and that was the loudest sound of all. The one they finally heard, silence, followed by understanding. We were always listening. The end.